Well, bottom left for unmute.
Aye.
Hi.
Well, hello. Good afternoon. Salutations.
I'm just going to put it on gallery view, which means that you can see both of us. There we go.
Do that. I'm sure they'll spend most of the time looking at me, but listening to you.
That's probably the way it'll work. How are you?
I am well, and yourself?
Yeah, not bad. Can't complain.
Good.
It's
A little bit.
5 to 3 in the afternoon here. What time is it there?
Oh, it'd be 5 to 9.
Right, Jesus. And what happened then? We viewers, we were scheduled for many hours in the future.
Yes. Well, you see, I like to put you on the back foot. No, I've got kids, and sometimes they decide to wake up far earlier than any human being should.
Right.
So,
Yes, they like to do that.
yeah, today was one of those days.
Right. Well,
I was just so excited to speak with Cass the Piper Cassidy.
you haven't slept, have you?
Not announced.
Good. I'll stick on my light. Hang on. There we go.
There you go. Now you're in high definition.
Probably a bit reflective on the old spectacles. I just watched your video about the mice.
Yeah, what do you think?
Have you been having trouble then? How many have you killed in total? There was one at work, one at home. And
Well, actually, work's racking up quite the kill count now.
right.
At home, I've killed two. I've killed two at home.
Right.
Yeah, so two at home, one that got away. So it would have been, we'll count that as 2.5. But I think he made it in one piece.
Is there any blood trails? Any wee blood footprints?
I went looking for the blood trails, but couldn't find it. But the first one that I did get, it was quite unfortunate. I was really upset because I don't like causing suffering to animals.
Yeah.
But I got this trap, and it's not your conventional, mouse trap, the old-fashioned ones you see with the little cheese-colored pad, because those things terrify me because I've had them snap down on me while trying to set them before. So I got something that was more user-friendly.
Okay.
But it's definitely not more mouse-friendly.
Okay.
They sometimes they don't. Most of the time, actually, they don't always kill. So the first mouse that we got here in the garage, it got him by the wrist. So I came out and there was a mouse attached to my tree. He tried to drag my trap away, actually, but he got stuck in a crevice between the floor and the wall.
Wow.
So I picked the trap up with the little mouse hanging from it and dispatched with him using a hammer that I found. So
yeah,
it wasn't good. But then the next one in the garage, the trap killed him. It actually came down right through his face. So he must have been enjoying the peanut butter. And that was the last thing he saw was...
Good way to go.
Just peanut butter.
I remember working in a bar, or it wasn't a bar, it was this, I was working in bars at the time, but I was also doing mornings in Reuben's. It was a sandwich bar in Belfast, so really early morning. And we had rats in Belfast, big water rats. It was near the river. And one of them was trapped in the morning. The trap had gone, and it was just, but it was huge. It was like the size of a cat. And I had
big.
Yeah, I had to finish it off just like you did. So it's not very nice. It plays on your mind for a wee while, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, and it was particularly brutal. I mean, the hammer put parts of the mouse that were meant to be on the inside on the outside very quickly, and it took 2 whacks. So that's the part that really got me. So the first one at work where the trap did the same thing. It got him by the arm, and he basically was trying to pull the arm off. And I was like, well, we're not going to let that happen. So I filled up you guys don't know, but in Canada we've got Tim Hortons. It's like the coffee destination.
No, they've just started coming. There's one in Belfast.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. It's terrible.
I haven't tried it yet. Is it crap? Yeah.
It's total shite. It's awful. But I managed to find an old one, an old cup, a large cup in the back part of our office there, where we keep all the janitorial supplies. So I filled that up with water, took the mouse and trap, and dumped them in, and left them there for a few minutes, and let the water do the rest. So.
Well, that's terrible. I'd rather do the hammer.
Yeah, the hammer or the drowning. So I actually enlisted counsel. I went to my friend Phil, who is also my boss. I said, Phil, I need a better way of killing these mice because the traps aren't doing it.
Yeah.
He said, well, I used to just take them out of the trap, drop them into a plastic bag, whip them around and smack them on something hard, and that usually got the job done. And I'm like, I'll stick drowning them in a cup.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Yeah, there's worse ways to die than drowning in a cup of Tim Hortons, but I can't imagine many worse.
I like that. Swing it round in a bag like a maniac. Right. Well, what are you smoking today? Thanks very much for joining me, first of all.
Well, thank you for having me, Cass. I'm a little jealous that you did 2 or 3 other people before me. I thought I was the first one to reach out to you.
Oh, I know. You weren't the first to reach out. You weren't.
No, they beat me to it.
What are you smoking then?
Well, I'm going to smoke my Mixture 965 because I'm
Hey.
sitting. Yes, well, you and I have a lot of stuff in common. I noticed that from the first. I think the first video of yours I watched wasn't your first video that you did. It was the My Mixture 965 review because I just couldn't turn it down. I had to know. I had to know what other people thought of it, and your smoking experience of that blend completely captured every smoking experience I've ever had of this blend.
Good.
I knew instantly that I had to reach out to you and have a chat.
I'm glad you did.
Well, it's funny. Before you had decided to start doing these Zoom meetings, I had been talking with Steve, Smoking Cardboard,
Yeah.
like about a month before we even found your channel.
Right.
And I was like, I want to do this kind of recorded Zoom meeting, but I just couldn't find out how to do it, or I didn't know how I wanted to do it, like if it was an interview style and things like that. And then all of a sudden you'd done it. I'm like, well, good, he's doing it for me, so I had to be part of it.
No, it doesn't mean you can't start doing them. Everyone's doing them now. Well, I thought that it was a good idea, but then I saw Professor Jeremiah's been doing it for ages. So not
Yeah,
an original idea.
with the Pith Helmet matinee, right?
Mm.
And there's nothing saying that I couldn't do it or that I won't do it, but I figured if you're already doing it, I might as well just hop on and do it with you.
Yes, but you should do it yourself anyway, and I'll return the favor and be a guest on yours.
There you go.
Mm.
There's just not enough of us in the world. So are you smoking the same thing then? What are you smoking?
My Mixture 965 in this. It was given to me. Did you see my video recently about my dad's mate, Robbie?
Yes, I did. I did watch that one. He gave you, was it 2 pipes? Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, that one, and then the other one, which was was it the old Meerschaum?
Yes, the African Meerschaum.
What's in my pocket? What's in my pocket?
What's
You said.
in my pocket? But this is a Dr. Plum. What do they call it? Begins with N. N for November. The brand or the range. But it's.
Oh, geez, I don't know.
I really wish I had taken a before photo, but I didn't. But it's it's looking good now, and it
You
does
make quite the improvement, eh?
Yeah, slight. It was sitting for 40 years doing nothing, just oxidizing.
That's a shame.
I know.
It's a shame when you think of, I often think about this. You go into a pipe shop, you go into a brick and mortar, and you just see rows and rows of tobacco pipes, and you wonder if they'll all ever be bought, or if they'll just sit there, having been made by craftsmen to collect dust and never see a bowl of tobacco ignited in them.
Yeah, I'm gonna start obsessing over that now. Thanks, Steve. I hadn't really thought of that. All those
Oh, there you go.
pipes.
I haven't had my morning shower, so now you get all my shower thoughts.
Reddit, good man. What's your handle on Reddit? I'm Sammy the Turk. That's a reference from the film Chopper about Mark Chopper Reed.
I don't use Reddit, actually. I'm just not hip enough for it.
Well, you said shower thoughts. I thought you were referencing the subreddit.
No, geez, I've been having shower thoughts before the internet existed, man. For as long as I've been alive and able to shower myself.
Okay. Oh, I thought you were referencing Reddit. Sorry.
No. Reddit is referencing me, my friend.
Indeed. Reddit's the only I have a Facebook and I have an Instagram, but I don't mess with them. I used to. It just makes you hate people, doesn't it?
Yeah. You see, for me, the hatred for people came through decades of working in retail and sales. There's no one on the planet that hates people more than a salesman. Because a lot like law enforcement and first responders, we see people at their worst. Now, we also see them at their best, but usually it starts with them at their worst, and you have to claw your way through the heaps of bullshit that they feed you to find out who they are as a person and build a nice relationship. So
true. I worked in the bar trade for a decade, so I worked briefly in retail in semi-chem, which is like a chemist, but but not a chemist. It's like Superdrug. Do you guys have Superdrug? No.
We don't have super drug, but we do have what you call chemists. We call them pharmacies.
But
We've
no,
got
but
them all over.
I know you have that, but this isn't a real chemist. It's like a shop that pretends to be a chemist. You can't actually get any of the good stuff. You just buy shampoo and stuff, you know.
Oh well, what's the use of that? You can get that at a grocery store.
Exactly. Mm. Mm. Right. So we're both misanthropes. Is that the case?
Sounds like it.
Yep. Good. Right. So we're both smoking my Mixture 965 through sheer chance. What are the chances?
What are the odds of that, eh?
We did have a little talk on WhatsApp about it. I'm going to ask you them first question. What's it like in New Zealand?
Well, I'm told it's very green. Everyone's very short. They're called hobbits. They live in holes in the ground.
Yeah.
And they've all got funny accents where the vowel inflection goes up instead of down. Now,
Yeah.
the reason I say that, I used to work for a company that was actually founded in New Zealand. So we had a lot of dealings within the company with people from New Zealand, Kiwis.
Mm-hmm.
And I had one that worked for me. She came all the way across from New Zealand to Canada, and a wonderful woman. Her name was Lee. And you know, she had the full accent, but we tried to beat it out of her over a couple of years of being in Canada. You still couldn't. But I used to make the joke, right? Because I enjoy languages. So you know, a South African's vowels will go up, and the Kiwis' vowels will go down, right? So if you say kid, it's could. All the coulds love to come play on my dick. Is the joke we used to have. I don't know if you have ever seen the YouTube video for Schaefer's deck sealant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get
it's brilliant, right? It's there's no
it.
better way to sum up the Kiwi accent.
That's terrible. I used to work in one of the bars I worked in, a big South African guy. He was like massive, like a rugby player, and just really absolutely the most loud. And my sister came in once. My sister's quite good looking, and he was, Cass, your sister is an absolute flavor. Yeah, she's a flavor, right, mate? But good crack though. They have a similar sense of humor as the Irish, I think.
Very good.
Very loud. So, do you have a favorite pipe?
I have 3 favorite pipes.
Okay. Are you smoking one?
I am. In fact, given the length of time that your Zoom chats go, I'll likely cameo appearance all 3 of them. You see, I've got them lined up. I've got them lined up just off of the frame.
Good. I have one on standby as well.
Excellent. So, actually, I guess you could say on a broader spectrum, my favorite pipe is the one that's in my hand and filled with tobacco that I didn't pay for.
That's a good saying.
So here's favorite pipe number 1.
Is it a cherry wood? Is it?
It's a cherry wood. It's a number 4 Nerup. So Nerup is a family name brand from Peter Jeppesen, Danish fella. Nice big cherry wood poker. And this is the one that my dog bit the snot out of the button the day I got it. So I've done a few videos where I reference that we had moved to a place called Edmonton, which is in the province of Alberta, like north side, like central to north Alberta. And it wasn't a very good time for us. It was under a lot of stress, a lot of bad things happening in the world at that time because Alberta is an oil-driven province, and I was in the sales industry. So the oil money would go into things like buying jewelry for my shop, hitting budgets and getting paid lots of money. But the oil industry here crashed in 2014, 2015, which happened to be exactly when I'd moved to Edmonton. So to cheer myself up one day, I went and I found this in a brick and mortar, and I loved it. And I bought it and I took it home. I loaded it up with tobacco and I set it down on my desk to go get a drink. And I came back and my new puppy, my Cocker Spaniel, was chewing on my pipe. Or she was trying to smoke it, but she tried to smoke it with her teeth and broke the button.
At least it was the vulcanite as opposed to the briar.
I'm thankful for that every day.
Are you not getting a new stem then?
I contacted Peter Jeppesen directly. I emailed him. I went through quite a rigorous process of trying to find him because this was back before I was as integrated into the YTPC. Now, if I need to talk to someone who's a carver, I'll just reach out to Mike at Briar Blues and say, Mike, do you know this guy? Of course you do.
Yeah.
Give me his phone number.
I hadn't thought of that.
right?
Good advice.
So I reached out to him. He got a hold of me. I gave him my address. He said he was going to make up a stem for me, and I'm sure he did. But it probably got long lost in the mail. And we move around. We're very nomadic because of my former career. So by the time that stem had arrived, we were probably long gone and living somewhere else.
Okay.
So
It's a beautiful pipe. Really nice grain. I love the stain on it as well. It's very.
oh yeah, no, it's a beautiful plateau grain on it. Like just absolutely
That's really nice.
killer. Yeah.
Is that not flame? No.
It appears like it's got flame, but it's not.
No.
Yeah, there's no actual flame to it. And then
Very.
the only bit of bird's eye or only bit of Ebichon on it is over in here. So it's a nice show pipe.
And of course, you've had plenty of time, haven't you? You've been smoking a pipe for a rather long period. How many years?
Well, let's see. I've been with my wife for 11 years, and I was smoking a pipe. Yeah, so just over a decade, right? So I started seeing her a few months before I started smoking the pipe.
Grand, grand.
So
And
almost 11.
were you, like a lot of people, did you start off on the sweet aromatics, the cherry type things?
Boy, did I ever. So how I ended up getting into smoking a pipe versus I started with cigars,
Mm-hmm.
but they were not financially a good choice for a young man in university in the most expensive city to live in Canada.
Yeah.
Now back then they were probably about $15 to $20 for say a I don't know, Monte Cristo #4. I don't know if you know much about cigars, but that's the world's most famous cigar, popular cigar, top selling cigar in the world, Monte Cristo #4. So there's about $20 for one of those. So, you know, I treat myself once a week occasionally, and then once a week turned into 5 times a week. And then all of a sudden I was broke. So I had gone to my local brick and mortar, and I had seen the pipe tobacco. They had house blends, you know, just a bunch of goopy aromatics that sit in a jar and all the suckers buy. And I seen a pipe for $40. That was my first pipe. I was like, you know what? This looks more financially feasible. I actually did like tobacco math. I was like, okay, so you've got 50 grams in a tin of tobacco for, at that time, the tins were $40. So 50 grams for $40. Each smokes about 1.5 grams, maybe we'll call it. I didn't know at the time. And so I'd get a lot more. My smoking experience would be enhanced, but no one ever told me that smoking a pipe was quite a chore. But I was up to a challenge. So started with a bunch of aromatics. Um, didn't really enjoy it, but you know, forced my way through anyway and just kept doing it.
Yeah.
And then at some point, and I can't remember exactly when or how long, I think it was probably 8 months into smoking the pipe, I picked up, it was either 965 or Old Dublin. It was one of those two,
Mm-hmm.
because at the time in the YTPC and on the internet, you know, there was a lot of people that would relate each to one another. They said, well, if you want to get into English, just try this one. And if you like this one, try this one. And I'd like to say, you know, I went years thinking that 965 was where it started, but I actually do think it was Old Dublin. I think I tried the Old Dublin first. I was like, this is really nice, except for the tin note. I never liked the tin note of English blends. To this day, I'm still like, well, I'm not sold on this, but I know that they taste the best when you smoke them,
Mm-hmm.
at least for me. So yeah, I think it was Old Dublin first. Made my way through a tin of that, and then I found a tin of my mixture 965 at, I don't know, a brick and mortar. If I got it online, I can't remember. Smoked that, never looked back. So
Yeah. It's a fantastic blend. It's the first. No, actually, Squadron Leader was the first. It was the second English I ever had. The first proper Latakia smoke that I ever had. Yeah, certainly. It's a great, fantastic tobacco, and I really enjoyed doing that review and learning a bit more about it as well. Have you PAD then? Isn't it PAD? PAD people talk about. You're either PAD or TAD, so you're either addicted to buying loads of pipes or addicted to buying loads of tobacco, or both.
um, I've always been a natural collector of things, whether it be things that are nice or just absolute rubbish. I'm a bit of a pack rat,
Mm-hmm.
right? I was that kid that had pet rocks, and I had like a whole barn full of pet rocks kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I like collecting things. So when it came to pipes, yeah, I got as many pipes as I could, as quickly as I could, for as little as I could. So what I used to do back in 2009, 2010 is I'd go on eBay,
Hmm.
right? So I bought my first pipe at a brick and mortar. I was like, yeah, 40 bucks. And then I had ended up going on eBay back when pipes on eBay were affordable, because now people have wised up, and they're selling estate pipes for, brand new pipe pricing.
Yeah.
I think you and Northeast Piper UK actually spoke on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you did. Anyway, so I then I found a Savinelli Punto Oro, which is still in my rotation. That was the second pipe I ever got. I found a Peterson system that I ended up giving to my buddy Robin. I've done some videos about that, and Robin has since passed away, and I've not been able to reclaim that pipe. It's awful long story, terrible.
Mm. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Anyway, and then I got the big calabash. That was an estate sale off of eBay. I got my big calabash for 60 bucks. And then I just kept collecting from there. And then as far as tobaccos went, I went 6 or 7 years where, my Mixture 965 was the only tobacco on the planet. Everything else was clearly not tobacco. It was an imposter. It was
No,
it was trash.
I see where you're coming from with that as well. Yeah. What was I going to say? Sorry to hear about your friend as well. What happened? Can I ask?
Yeah, you can ask. You can definitely ask, and I'll tell. There's two versions of the story, and as many people in my inner circle don't travel my YouTube, dealings, then I suppose it's fine to come out. But as far as anyone is concerned, he died of undiagnosed sleep apnea.
Right.
So he passed away in his sleep. His roommates came and found him sometime during the day, and he was gone.
Jesus.
But those of us who knew him, Robin, knew that he was he was brilliant. He was I believe he was on the autism spectrum, because he was so bloody smart. Like, he was Rain Man, a beautiful mind smart, and never really related well to people. Struggled with depression and all of these sort of things. Had insomnia. All of these things that plague these brilliant people. That we've lost celebrities in recent years for similar reasons. I mean, all these guys are always nice to everyone but themselves.
Mm.
And I believe he was self-medicating to help himself sleep using ketamine. I think he put himself into a ketamine hole and never came out.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Ketamine, strange drug now.
Right.
Sorry to
So
hear
I
that.
believe
But are you
that
still?
is
Oh, sorry. Go on.
right. No, I
Sorry.
was just going to say that's the official record, but it's the secret, well guarded up until this point,
Yeah.
between me and my good buddy Shane, who was Robin's best friend. So Shane was my best friend. Now I consider him a brother. Robin's been Shane's best friend for longer than I've been alive. You're a bit older than I am, and that loss hit Shane really, really hard. To this day, it hit him, and then this is well over a year now. It's been a year and a half since Robin passed.
It's still quite fresh then.
Right.
Yeah. Jesus. Yeah. And are you speaking to the family or anything? Or?
Mm.
It'd be great for you to get that pipe back so you can remember
Well, I'll tell you the story of the pipe. I might have mentioned it in a video like way back, like months ago, damn near a year ago. I must have talked about it, but I'm not sure if I did. But the story was, I had the Peterson system pipe. It was a bent pipe. I don't know what shape. I'd have to go and look up what it was actually classified as. Very similar to what you're smoking, but done by Peterson. And Shane had been working at a recycle depot, right? So all the city's recycling would get dumped there, and he'd push it around in a big, like a skid steer loader, and sort it and all that. And someone had thrown out a butts choking, calabash shaped church warden.
Right.
Shane had found it, and he was like, "Oh, I can clean this up. There's nothing wrong with it. Someone just threw it out for whatever reason." And he had found it. And at the time, I had a couple bent pipes. I had that Savinelli Punto Oro. I had the Peterson. I was like, you know what? I would love to have that church warden in my collection, because I don't have any. I was still building. This was in the early days of building my collection. And Robin, you see, we were all Freemasons, right? So Robin was instrumental in my smoking tobacco, because we all came up smoking it together at the same time. I was with cigars. Shane got on the cigars. I got onto the pipes. Robin showed interest in the pipes. Always liked the look of me smoking a pipe, things like that. I didn't want to try it. Shane was going to give that church warden to Robin. And I said, well, hold on just a minute. Let me talk to Robin first. So I went to Robin with my Peterson. I said, Robin, you've made comments in the past that you really like this pipe. He goes, yeah. I said, Shane's got something he wants to give to you. It's a pipe. It's a different one, but I'd rather have it than this. Would you be interested in me gifting you this pipe?
Everyone's
And
happy.
yeah, and Robin said, absolutely, 100%. Robin treasured that pipe for as long as he lived since I gave it to him. I think actually it might have been, I do believe it was his only pipe to this day, right? So he'd smoke it daily, but he'd rest it in between, but that was the only pipe. He was the guy that wouldn't collect pipes. That was it, right? He enjoyed it. And so that's how he got the pipe. Now you fast forward to a year and a half ago, and Robin dies, and now he's got all of these things. He lived in a condo, which he shared with one or two roommates, or a roommate and the roommate's girlfriend.
Okay.
So Robin had his own room, and in his room he had everything he owned essentially. And Robin was really into, crafting. So he was big into origami. The man could make amazing origami pieces. Just hours of time folding these little pieces of paper and making these, hook them all together and make a giant swan or a snake or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd made things like he used to make kilts. He'd make Celtic kilts, but he'd make them out of metal jump ring,
right?
Various colors. So he'd wrap his own wire, cut these jump rings, and link them together. He used to make chainmail kilts. The things weighed like 200 pounds, but they were really cool.
Jesus, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so he dies, passes away, and now you've got all of his belongings. And the belongings were going to get carved up between his mother, who actually lived. We were all living on Vancouver Island on the west coast of Canada. That's where I met Shane and Robin, they had fled. They had run away from the Church of Latter-day Saints, the Mormons, out in Alberta, where I ended up just living for 5 years of my life. So
Okay.
Robin was actually from a town called Lethbridge, which was only about 2 hours drive from where I was living.
Mm-hmm.
And his mom still lives there. So Robin right now, despite his last wishes having been don't ever send his ashes or bury him, whatever, don't make his final resting place Alberta. But sure enough, his mom went against his wishes, and she's got the urn in a place where he never wanted to go back again. So that's kind of sad right there. So anyway, in my study, not now because we've moved, but generally what I do is I've got a big entertainment unit, it's a big TV thing. It's got these pillars on either side with shelves on it, glass shelves with lights above them. And I put my pipes on a few of them, but I wanted to put a shelf dedicated to Robin. So there's a picture of, Robin and myself and Shane in our Masonic regalia, right? There's the origami rose that he had given to me and Steph when we moved away from Victoria to take the career. So he'd given me that as a parting gift, and I have that. So I wanted to make like a little tableau shrine section in honor of Robin and put it up with my nice stuff. So I said, wouldn't it be cool if I could get a hold of that pipe? So I started the search for this pipe. Now, I wouldn't smoke it. I'd just put it on a stand and leave it there, and that would be my little tribute to my friend Robin. So I tried hunting it down. I went to his mother. She said one of two people would have it, either his roommate, Taryn, or another brother Freemason, Joseph. Check with those two. Okay. I started with Joseph because I'm a Mason. He's a Mason. Hey, brother Samchuk, I haven't seen you in years. I'm trying to find this. He says, well, the roommate's got it. If anyone's got it, the roommate's got it. I said, okay. So I go through Facebook. I find his roommate, and I message him directly, and I say, hey, here's who I am. Nice to meet you. Sorry about Robin's passing. Sorry that you had to discover him, because it was Taryn what found his body. And I said, look, in Robin's personal effects is this Peterson tobacco pipe. Here's a picture of it. So I just gave him a picture of me smoking the pipe back in the day. So that's what it looks like. I'm trying to get it back. Here's the reason for it. It would mean a lot to me. Could you help me with that? And you know what Taryn did? He ghosted me. Stopped talking immediately at that point.
So he hasn't?
Well, he doesn't. So anyway, I speak with Shane. I said, because Shane and Taryn live in the same town where Robin lived, in Victoria, BC. I said, Shane, do you know this Taryn guy? Do you know his roommate? Shane had nothing but bad things to say about this guy. I'm not going to say it on your stream because YouTube will ban us, but there were some choice words given for this man and a description of how he is the lowest of the low.
Okay.
See, Shane had actually gifted Robin an ocarina, right? A little musical thing like from Zelda.
Yeah.
Because Robin was really into that. And Shane had tried to do the same thing and tried to get Robin's ocarina for a very similar thing. He was actually going to donate it to the Masonic Temple, our Mother Lodge in Victoria.
Okay.
And you know what that roommate did? He sold all of Robin's earthly possessions and all of his own possessions to move out of the condo to buy an old hippie van because he's, you know, an unwashed, filthy hippie. And him and his girlfriend fucked off and live in the van now. So they sold all of these things that mean something to people and meant something to my friend Robin to buy a shitty hippie van to live in.
I can't believe that. The level of, no, I can't put it into words. It's so.
But I'll tell you what, Cass. I'm a very level-headed man, but I'll tell you, just between you and me and the rest of the YouTube community that's watching this, if they've watched this far, and I'm sure they have, buying that hippie van and living a nomadic life is the best thing that Terran guy ever did. Because if I ever fucking find him, it's not going to go well.
Yeah.
So he better keep that van. He better keep that van full of eco diesel or piss or whatever it runs on.
Keep moving. Jesus wept. What a horrible bastard.
Right.
Really horrible. Really horrible. Sorry to hear that.
I had considered sending Shane, my friend Shane, who's still in Victoria. I had considered sending him out to canvass the pawn shops because he knows what the pipe looks like.
Mm.
But I don't know if the guy pawned it or sold it privately. It's gone. Like,
It would be a goose chase.
Yeah, it's a loss. We'll count it as a loss.
It could have been a 307 or a 314. I'm thinking because I have the Petersons in those shapes, and they're like polish but apple shape.
Yeah, they're very big, right? Like it's a big bend.
Mm.
I'll send you a picture sometime.
Just so you can see. This, really.
Pretty much, yeah. With the silver grommet plugged into the system and all that. Yep. It was a P-lip. I know that.
Yeah.
The only P-lip pipe I had, which to this day, I don't know how I feel about P-lip pipes. That might have been one of the determining factors in me offering the trade for the church warden.
All right. I quite like it. P-lip system. Don't really notice the difference too much, but I like the way it feels.
Well, I'll tell you what I don't like about it is I when I smoke my pipe, I get two major enjoyments out of it. One is my retrohale. I taste more of my tobacco through my nose than I ever would through my mouth because I have a terrible mouth palate. It's not good. Mm-hmm. But I have these really nice sweet spots on where I guess your sour taste buds would be on the sides of my tongue, and that's exactly where I put the smoke. It's either on the right or the left, nowhere else but there on the tongue, and I blow through my nose, and that's how I enjoy my tobacco. So the P-lip robbed me of that because it puts it up into your palate, right? Mm. So I think that was the reason at the time that I didn't enjoy the P-lip.
Yeah, well, that's a good reason. So nothing wrong with that then. Yeah, it'd be nice to get that back. If you ever do, that would be a miracle really at this point, wouldn't it?
Yep, it would be.
Moving on, we have to talk about your favorite tobaccos. If you could narrow it down to the top three, if you were being sent off to a gulag, but you were allowed to smoke and you would never see the outside of the wall ever again. So 3 tobaccos.
Wow, they'd let me have all 3 in the gulag? Sign me up.
Unlimited stash. I know, yeah.
Can I smoke them while I do the backbreaking manual labor and freeze my nuts off, right? Yeah. So obviously my mixture 965. I'm never too far away from that tobacco. Smoker's Haven 20th anniversary mixture, which of course you can't get anymore. That tobacco was gifted to me by NJ Piper Ben, who's on a bit of a hiatus or sabbatical from the YTPC. Although he did make a comment on one of my videos recently, so he's watching. He's just taking some time. Mm-hmm. And then the 3rd place spot gets a little sticky, gets a little tricky because there's so many good ones that I've had, right? So I've really been enjoying Germain's Special Latakia Flake. But I don't know if I've enjoyed it enough to say that it would be the 3rd favorite tobacco.
I think it was Sean Victorian Piper was talking about that. He really enjoyed it.
It's a ridiculous smoke. It's really good. Like there's just something strange about it.
Hmm.
Which you could say for a lot of blends, right?
Hmm.
Rich dark flake I found really tasty as well. So I probably would have said one of those two as my third favorite had this Zoom interview have happened prior to last night around 9 o'clock p.m. my time, because because because
Oh,
because
what have we got? Frogmorton Cellar.
there you go.
Very, you best hold on to that. Don't smoke it.
I Well, you know what? I need to smoke it because it's just too damn enjoyable, and there's 100 grams of it. So 100 grams will probably take me decades to smoke because I rotate quite a few blends. But
Yeah.
what I was thinking about doing, my daughter, she's 8 years old, and she
Hmm.
really loves that I smoke pipes. She's got her own little tiny, like an actual wood, like a briar pipe that was sent to her, or sent to me actually, in a yabo by
Right.
a lurker, I guess you'd call him. We need to find a better term
Yeah.
for people that watch the videos. But everyone, but that's the word that it is, right? It's just lurker, right? It means nothing bad, but they lurk in the
Yeah.
shadows. Anyway, a man named David Yee, who he did a few. He's really shy. He's a shy fella, but I made him do some videos in the summer. Like I reached out through the camera, grabbed him by the shirt, and said, "No, you're coming out of your comfort zone. You're coming with me." So he ended up doing some slideshow videos. So he's overdubbed him talking through the slideshows. So hey, it's a start at something.
Yeah.
Dave had sent me a big Yabo box, and in it was that pipe for Ava. So I know that I've turned my own children to smoking a pipe. Now they're not old enough to do it, but I know they will be, and I wouldn't be shocked if my two little ones, the boys, they'll follow suit one day when they know what's good for them. So I was thinking, I've got 100 grams of that. If I pinched off 3 pinches, enough to fill a pipe,
Vacuum.
locked them away in a tiny jar with some 965, basically like samples of my favorite blends, or blends that are really cool. And if I bury that somewhere, like a time capsule,
Yeah.
put it in the will so that when they're old enough, and I'm probably old enough to die, and the will's going to say, here's where it is, go get it, divvy it up through the children that want it, smoke it in this pipe, this pipe, and this pipe, and enjoy.
Nice.
Right. So I just to share a bit of history with the kids, should they ever want it to. Otherwise, they could probably at that point sell it and make millions of dollars. Because let's be real, Throgmorton is going to be worth $1 million in another 20 years.
Absolutely. Excuse me, I need to turn on this little heater. Gas canisters. Get it going.
Yeah. See, I've got my little heater beside me. It's a little electric oil radiator heater thing here. But I was thinking about getting a gas operated one when I watched your video about your little gas operated heater.
It's great. Does the job.
Yep.
Shouldn't hold it while it's lit, apparently. Just to get
That's
it
the
down
second
near
time.
my feet.
That's the second time you held it while it's lit. You said, this is not safe, but I'm going to do it.
You gotta do these things. That's brilliant. 8 years old, so only 10 more, or what is the smoking age over there?
19.
Is it? That's a strange age. I think it's 18 now, but it was 16 for many years. Or maybe it's still 16 here.
Well, I wouldn't be shocked if in my country they changed the smoking age to like 30, because they've demonized tobacco so much, and they want to keep it out of the hands of the youth, to the point where tobacco products with menthol
Yeah, it's yeah.
gone.
It,
Like it's just illegal because they're saying, well, the kids really like it. It's tasty, yay menthol, and it's like,
no.
yeah, but the problem isn't in the product, right? The problem isn't to punish us smokers. The problem exists as to the shopkeeps that allow them to get in there
Yeah.
while underage and purchase it, right? So because
See,
there's an entire workforce out there who isn't doing their job and asking to see the identification cards, now I've got to pay more taxes, or I can't buy this, right? So it's a bit of a pain in the butt, but
it's
that's
so bloody obvious. It's so bloody obvious that they are going about it the wrong way. It's same with the UK. They've done that with menthol as well. Just be sensible about it, kids. Just it would make more sense to ban all the strawberry flavors of the vape stuff going on, and they have done that to some degree. You have to buy the nicotine separately here if the juice can't be more than 10 mils with nicotine in it or something. It's
Yep.
probably similar there. But it's just such a bloody pipe smoking. And it's not a habit forming thing that you wake up with cold sweats because you need your fix. It should be treated differently completely. And there's nobody in Parliament, as far as I'm aware, who is lobbying for that kind of thing.
Yeah,
We need
well, yeah, but Cass, that's the thing, right? Pipe smoking is a gentleman's hobby, and there's no gentleman left in Parliament anywhere in the world.
true. Good point. Hadn't thought of that.
They're elected animals. They're not elected officials.
Hmm.
If you want to go see a question period or a debate in Parliament, you might as well go to a zoo and watch monkeys throw shit at one another.
That's true, unfortunately. Right, so favorite pipes, like I said. Have you ever made any pipes?
I
When
have. I actually this I did not plan this. What a coincidence! But I've made 3 tobacco pipes
Mhm.
in my time. There's one of them.
That's right. I've commented on that. It's like a
Yeah.
squat tomato bulldog thing.
Yeah, it's like a weird little tomato squat Rhodesian alien egg thing. I don't know. It was carved off a hobby block and it won me a prize, which is cool. And then there's this one.
That's beautiful.
It's a hunk of garbage. I did a terrible job, but the
No,
point
it's
is,
not. It's like a Zulu almost.
I don't know what it is. I think it's like a poor attempt at some sort of Zulu Dublin or something. But the story behind that one, actually, the reason it's sitting there is because I just got the Yabo from John at All Briared Up, and it had a bunch of aromatics, and I'm like, I need to sacrifice or dedicate
Yeah.
a pipe to these ghosty cherry flavored whatever the hell is I'm about to smoke. So that one got the designation. It got a promotion.
That
Um,
Zulu. The
the
Zulu.
reason it exists is I picked up a pipe lot from a friend, or an acquaintance rather, in Medicine Hat. There was, I don't know, 6 pipes I think I bought from him, and one of them was a Brylon pipe, right? And yeah, it's garbage. It's a terrible pipe. It smokes awful, and I hate every minute of it. But and the stem didn't fit well into it, right? Like the stem was loose. It was kind of crooked. It just, yeah. So but I like the shape of it. So I carbon copied the shape of it. It's this shape, and this is the stem from that Brylon pipe, and I've just drilled to
Very nice.
accommodate, right?
I really like that. That pipe. It's nice.
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, I'm not even finished it,
Mm.
right? I was like, you know what? I had carved it out, drilled it. I was sanding it. I'm still not done sanding it. I was like, what should I stain you? And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to stain you. I'm just going to start smoking you because I'm impatient, and you can just darken up the old-fashioned way. So that's what it's doing.
That'll be nice.
Um, it's definitely not a quality pipe, but it gets the job done when I'm jamming a bunch of aromatics through it. So,
And was it
thank-
all hand tools? Yeah.
what did I use for this one? Yeah, I had the sanding disc, right? Like all the big boys use the sanding disc, with a way too aggressive grit, I might add. So this one carved really quickly. There was some hand tools, some hand files, and sanding paper. I drilled it with a little tiny benchtop drill press that I've got, which of course doesn't drill straight. I made my own spoon bit, so I took a spade bit, woodworking bit, and I ground it, as oval or round as I could on the top. But yeah, it's not a quality pipe by any means, but it
Yeah.
smokes. And if I burn a hole through it, I really don't care because I made it.
I like it. I think it's a lovely shape. Zulu is one of my favorite shapes, and I think that's a very lovely pipe.
Well, thank you.
No, you should be proud of yourself. You should. I would love to get a lathe at some point in the future. I
I
think.
saw you were talking about that lathe, the affordable 60-pound lathe.
Hmm.
Um, I don't recommend cheap tools. That's the best
No,
thing I can tell you.
yeah.
When it came to a lathe, like I made all my pipes. Anything that I've made, I didn't use a lathe, right? I used the drill press in creative ways, and it was probably really dangerous. I should never do it again. I went looking to buy a lathe, and I was going to buy a cheap one we've got a place called Canadian Tire, which is, they sell cheap tools and cheap shit. And it was $199 or $169 or something like that. It was a little wood lathe, and it had terrible reviews. It was garbage. I knew it wasn't going to do a good enough job, but I had money burning a hole in my pocket, and I figured I would go for it. And before I went to leave my house, I was like, you know what? I'm going to check Kijiji one more time. Now, Kijiji, like I mentioned in my most recent video, is a lot like Craigslist. People advertise, use stuff for sale, but Kijiji, it just looks way cooler.
Okay.
And I went wood lathe or just lathe or something on Kijiji, and there was a brand new post. It had posted 15 minutes before I searched for it. And it was a Delta branded mini lathe the guy was using for making pens. He made
And
pens and knife handles, yeah, like writing pens. So it was big enough that it could do pipes. It
yeah.
was a quality tool. It's normally like an $800 tool,
Mm-hmm.
and he had it posted for sale for $300.
Mm-hmm.
So I went on there and I was like, oh, okay. Hey, would you take 250 for it? He said, yeah, sure, I'll take 250. I was like, good, I'm coming right now. What's your address? So had I have not taken the brief second to search for that, because I'd searched throughout the whole morning and there was nothing came up. I'm like, well, one last search wouldn't hurt. And sure enough, I lucked out. I found that lathe. I got it. Boom. So it was on that lathe that I started making tampers for people in the YTPC. Sent out a few, made my own tampers. Actually, this one's just a little throwaway tamper that I made, just trialing the lathe, getting it set up.
Is that a bullet?
Ironically,
Is that is that a
yeah. So
bullet casing?
I use in my tampers. I use Lee Enfield 303 British, because that's actually I've got a Lee Enfield rifle
Mm-hmm.
that was my dad's, and these casings came out of some military surplus. I forget who gave them to me. A buddy of mine had a whole ammo box full of military surplus,
Mm-hmm.
303 British, and it like just a random thing to have. And he goes, "Hey, you've got a 303, don't you?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Is it British?" I said, "Yeah, it is." He goes, "Here you go." So he gave me like, I don't know, 200 rounds of free ammunition.
Nice.
So I just had a surplus of these spent casings because we were keeping our brass and we were going to get a reloading kit and do our own ammo because it's cheaper. Because the 303 British, where I live, again, you go to Canadian Tire, you buy your ammunition or any outfitter store, and it's just ridiculous price because it's a really unusual size munition.
Yeah.
So I was keeping my own brass, but then I just stopped hunting and shooting, and I moved around everywhere. So I was like, oh look, I found a bunch of spent casings.
Mm-hmm.
So I chuck the casing into the lathe, spin it, and I'd take a hacksaw and just hold the hacksaw to it, cut through it, file it off a bit, and then start the woodworking process. And then they're just held in with cyanoacrylate, super glue. I use super glue to hold them in.
It's nice looking tamper.
Well, actually, this one, if you saw it up close, it's just cheap garbage. Like I said, it was a trial run, but it's just this one's some sort of mahogany, Honduran mahogany or something like.
It looks good to me. You should be more proud.
Well,
You're very modest.
It gets the job done. I toot my own horn when I feel I've deserved it. So the ones I've made out of rosewood and sent to people, yeah, they're all right. They're better than this, but this one gets the job done.
It's practical uses then.
Mm.
So I've heard that you sometimes hunt in an unusual manner using your motorcycle.
I hunt in a few unusual manners. I have two methods of hunting and successfully killing animals. One is mouse traps. The other is vehicular devices. So
your motorcycle?
Well, that's one way. I've killed several deer in my life, none of which have been with a rifle or a bow. I've used all manner of vehicular devices.
Really?
Yeah, I was thinking of doing another story time about how I almost died killing a deer with another vehicle. So I might do that, or I could tell you now.
Please.
Well, this is special, right?
Was
So
this
yeah,
a car? In a car?
it was my wife's new SUV that I had bought her. So you recall earlier in our chat how I mentioned that our time spent in Edmonton was a very harsh time. This story ties into that. All right. I'm convinced that someone had placed a curse on me. Some angry Italian lady who worked for me. She was an office administrator. Put the Sheeny curse on me. She gave me the evil eye or whatever. I'm sure she chalked it onto the floor under the carpet at work and cursed me for making her do some sort of inventory or something at some point.
Do her job.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, how dare I?
God forbid.
So let me set the stage for you. Okay. It is a cold, bleak, awful Canadian winter. I am managing a store that is, because of an oil industry crash, underperforming by a large percentage. I have just left a store that was performing abundantly. It was the best store for this company in Canada. I was making the most sales. I was retaining the most profit. I was making the biggest bonus. All of these good things traded under the guise of a lie, and we'll get to that, that this new store would be a great opportunity and that, I'd make even more money. And of course, the road to hell was paved with good intentions, but it was set with the steamroller of lies and deceit.
Right.
My direct supervisor. So anyway, there's kind of the thing, right? I'm in Edmonton. I had rented my house, right? I was renting a place to live where in Medicine Hat I had my house. I was renting that to tenants, and lo and behold, they stopped paying rent. So now I'm
while they were staying there, they just
it was good for the first 3 months, and then the oil crash happened, and then all of a sudden the excuses started about how they couldn't pay rent. So now I'm paying for my mortgage and I'm paying for rent in the place I'm at, and it was financially crippling me. So there was 1 or 2 times where I looked at my closet and said, I could hang myself with a belt from that closet beam right there. It was a bad time, but that's okay because Christmas came.
Right.
Christmas came, and that's not the hardest time of the year for most people because you've got to spend money on presents for people and whatnot. Christmas was the shining light forward. So I work retail. You don't get any time off in December. The time off you do get is between Christmas Eve at close of business and Boxing Day at 6 a.m., right? So you've got a day and a bit.
Yeah.
You know what the best plan of action was for that day and a half of rest? Finish work at 5 p.m. in the dark at the mall, go home, get the wife, get the kid, get the dog, and drive 3 hours through treacherous blizzard snowstorm up a northern Canadian highway to the wife's relative's place.
Okay.
So there we are. We're driving now. We've just bought 2. Okay, go ahead.
Your audio went funny there. Speak again. Sorry.
Sorry, which?
Your audio went all tinny and crap there, but it's back. It's back. No, I don't want to miss any of this. Sorry, go on.
It's quite compelling, isn't it? So finish work, get the wife, get the kid. We load up into this new to us but used Dodge Journey that I just bought my wife. Right, she had like a crappy little station wagon, a Ford Focus wagon that I bought for her to learn how to drive. She's learned how to drive. Now we get her a nicer one. So it was a Dodge Journey. It was red. It matched the red of my new Dodge Challenger that I bought myself at the same time because I have this nasty habit of having midlife crises once every decade, and that was my midlife crisis car. So we pack up into our Journey, which at this point I'm going to drive because it's treacherous, snowy winter conditions, and I'm a more experienced driver. And Anyway, so I'm driving her new Journey. She's driven this vehicle no more than a handful of times, maybe 4 or 5 times. And we're driving, and we're on the highway, and it's pitch black out, and there's a snowstorm. The blizzard, the snow is coming in from the sides, it's coming in from the front, it's everywhere. And we're about 40 minutes away from our destination. Yeah, half hour, 40 minutes away. So we're pretty close at this point. We've driven for 2 hours. And about 100 feet ahead of me, if that, I see the lights of a car hauling semi. Right? We're following him. Cool. It's just us and the semi. We'll let him do all the hard work. He's got his high beams on. He can see everything.
Yeah.
Perfect. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I see these dark shapes coming through his lights. Lots of them. And it turns out that these dark shapes moving in the distance, 100 feet ahead of me, through the lights of a car hauling semi, are full antlered bucks.
Right.
Big prairie mule deer. And there's a whole herd of them. And they decided that it was a good time to run from the meridian that separates the divided highway to the other side of the highway. And they felt, because deer are the smartest creatures on the planet, that it would be safer for them to run through the big, bright section of highway illuminated by whatever this giant thing coming towards them was. It was like watching a slaughterhouse factory floor cast. The
Serious?
shapes would enter through the left, and a pink mist and chunks of shapes were exiting through the right.
Oh man.
So the semi driver, and of course I see this also. Now I'm slowing down. We're doing about 120 kilometers, and I'm like, let's bring that down. Because the visibility, it's a snowstorm. We need to be safe after all. And I know that there's chunks of shit flying out of the front of this semi. And that semi truck had killed about 7 or 8 of them. And I'm like, okay, cool. The herd is clearly dead. But there was one stray buck that decided that he wasn't going to get hit by the semi. No, he was the smartest of the deer. But he ran himself face first into my front left quarter panel out of nowhere. So I'm slowing down and I'm watching this and I'm looking around, and all of a sudden this deer charges my journey. And the journey hit him right in the shoulder blade and the neck and carved that deer in half. Separated its neck. Well, it didn't fully separate it. It was kind of hanging, like dangling there, right? And it completely crippled the front light and wheel and radiator of this journey. So now we're putting on the brakes, and the buck's back there in the middle of the highway. The semi driver's pulled off to the side of the road. He's put his flashers on, his hazard lights, and there was no harm to him. He hits more deer and animal than you could count. I know this because he eventually told me.
Right.
He's got a big crossbar, big steel bar on it for killing animals. Good way to hunt. I agree. Anyway, so we've pulled off, and it's dark, and it's minus 35 degrees Celsius out. So I don't want to spend any time outside of the car as I need to. The adrenaline's pumping because I've just smacked a deer. It's completely crunched the fiberglass components of the front driver's side of my car, which for us is on the left, and for you, I believe it's on the right.
Yeah.
Left side of the vehicle. And I'm shining my cell phone light in there. Okay, well, look, it looks cosmetic, right? It's a superficial injury to the car. Let's get to our destination. This is going to cost a lot of money. Insurance will cover it, whatever. I take a few pictures for the insurance guys because I know they're going to want it. I'm speaking to the semi drivers, like, are you guys okay? I said, yeah, we appear to be. Looks like the vehicle can move. We'll carry on. As I'm getting back into my vehicle, the deer carcass that I've left in the middle of the road contacts a Pontiac Firefly. Are you familiar with that kind of car?
No.
You know a smart car? You know the Gopher 2 smart cars?
Yeah.
It is 1 foot bigger in length than that car.
Right.
So you can imagine what the deer carcass did to that guy's car.
Right.
So I said to the truck driver, I said, we're okay to carry on, but you might want to help those guys because their car is never moving again.
Yeah.
That deer carcass completely crumpled the front end of that guy's car, hood's up in front of his windshield. He's done for. He's in the middle of nowhere on a Canadian highway. Best of luck. I'm getting the hell to where I'm going.
Jesus, what a story.
What a great way to spend Christmas Eve, right? So yeah, my kill count for deer using automobiles far exceeds that of the kill count for rifles.
That's hilarious. But
it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there, Cass.
Okay.
Now, I didn't kill this deer, but I did severely make it uncomfortable. Yeah. Here's one for you. You can't write this. You can't make this stuff up. I was at the driving range on a golf course in the summer years back with my buddy Luke. We were hitting some golf balls, warming up for a round of golf. And there's deer out in the driving range. They just, they're stupid. They like to sit there and sit in the middle of a driving range and have these projectiles launched around them, never at them. And I accidentally scalped the ball that traveled at about 200 kilometers an hour, at least. It was going fast. At about 3 feet from the ground, I would say. Just a laser beam of a golf ball. And would you believe that golf ball contacted the anus of a deer standing in the field, and that golf ball disappeared into the rectal cavity of that deer.
Hole in one?
Yeah, it was a hole in one hole. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Did you shout forward? Did you have the,
I didn't. No, I didn't have the courtesy to shout 4. I believe I hit the ball, went, Luke, look at this. As it was traveling, I said, that's going to hit that deer. And then it hit the deer, and the deer just started bucking and jumping and going absolutely wild. And Luke goes, Chris did that? And I said, Luke, I do believe. And at the same time, we both said, that ball went up that deer's asshole.
Certainly did. So you didn't get it back?
Oh, no. No, I'm sure someone at some point got that range ball back.
In the middle of their Sunday roast.
That's right.
After a hard day's hunt. That's hilarious, man.
Anyway, so that's how I hunt the deer. But yeah, the motorcycle one, I'm lucky to have come away relatively unscathed.
Yes.
The deer, I'm pretty sure that deer died.
Poor thing. These things happen. Dear. My wife's father and all his mates are hunters, so I'll have to tell them that story.
Yep. Tell them that's how we do it in Canada.
That's how it's done.
It's a good way to poach animals because you don't need a permit to kill them with your car.
Just make it out to be a complete accident.
Oh yeah.
That's fantastic.
Actually, the one I hit with the bike, if I had an actual vehicle with me, I would have picked up the carcass and butchered it and taken it home to eat. But I couldn't get the deer on the back of the bike.
No, didn't have the right equipment to hand.
Aye.
That's hilarious.
And that one would have had some real tender flanks, because I tenderized it. I tenderized it at about 80 kilometers an hour.
Oh dear.
I've got a question for you.
Yes.
Yeah. So I notice you've got all manner of ink drilled into your skin, as all manly men such as us should.
Yes.
But you've got some runes, it looks like, tattooed onto your fingers.
Yeah, well, they are. One of them's kind of a pentagram with yeah.
Aye, there's that one.
And the other is the symbol for an ancient like alchemy symbol for bismuth that was used, but way before that. It had a history, but all my tattoos are of a similar nature. I was into black metal and that kind of music for a long time, and I was a singer of a black metal band called Draconis, and I'd always had an interest in and dabbled in the dark arts, shall we say, and so that all my tattoos are of that nature.
Very good. Well, I was wondering the history of them.
Yeah, I'm gonna lose about 100 subs now.
Oh, all right. Well, hey, you know what? That's okay. I lose 100 subs every month. I do a live stream on Saturdays. I could write a masterclass on how to chase subscribers away.
Not that bad. I heard that you lost a few after you did your Russian joke. I really enjoyed that.
I gained a few, but then I lost a few. And I don't know if they're like, yeah, I'm gonna subscribe to this guy. It's like, wait a minute, buyer's remorse, or if it was people that have like, you just don't know, right?
I know you can't know. I try not to worry about it anymore. Win some, lose some. That's it.
Yeah, but your channel's in the beautiful stage. You don't have to worry about losing them. Your channel's got exponential growth. You're in the good times where every day you wake up to your analytics, there's another 50.
Who knows? It happens. You're doing well. How many do you have now? Close to 500, no? Or over?
Oh, I'm still a ways away. 354. I think I've gone back to 354.
You'll be 500 after this, I promise.
Well, you would hope so. I mean, this is strategic planning. You see, you've got Cass Piper Cassidy, who's got this quality channel, right, wrapped in a beautiful Irish accent, and people can't say no to the Irish accent. So I'm just going to jump on with this guy, and he's going to make me famous. There you are.
Take it riding on the wave.
Riding on the coattails.
Do you have any ink then yourself?
Oh yeah. Oh, I do. Yeah. I've got a few. I got a strip for you.
Yeah, sure.
Why not?
I'm never going to say no to that.
There you go. Right. Yeah. I got the Rambling Dilettante on a live Zoom chat, and he's stripped.
That's what I was waiting for.
Tattoo number 1. Oh, a little Pisces symbol.
Oh, cool. That's your star sign then?
Well, yeah, and the story behind that one is...
I'm Pisces as well. March the 14th.
Really?
Me too. Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I'm March the 8th. My
There
birthday
you go.
falls on. Did you know that my birthday falls on International Women's Day?
Really, mine is steak and blowjob day.
Yeah, well, that's right. But see, good
No,
for you.
it actually is
Happy
steak and
birthday, right?
blowjob.
Do you feel robbed that your birthday falls on that day? Because if it had fallen on any other day, you would have had two steaks and two blowjobs.
Yeah. I wish.
Yeah.
I
You know
wish.
how I take my blowjob, Cass? Rare. Yeah, because I haven't had one in God knows how long. Welcome to marriage.
I'm married as well. You forget. So
Yeah.
yeah, I know.
So
I
now
know.
here's the thing. So yeah, my birthday is on International Women's Day. So that is proof that I am God's gift to women. I
Yep.
tried to tell my wife for years, and then she found out what day it was, and I'm like, it's proof. So
Joyce.
yeah, actually, my
Where's
birthday.
the rest of your tattoos then?
All right. Well, here. So this one's a Pisces symbol. I
Mhm.
got this because I was bored waiting for a buddy of mine in university to get his leg done. He put the like the British lion on his calf,
Okay.
and I was like, you know what? I'm bored. I need a tattoo. Hey, I'm never not going to be a Pisces. Would you kindly tattoo me, sir? Okay. Actually, it was a woman. Yep. Okay. Her name was Erin. Thanks, Erin. Great tattoo. And then while I was sitting in her chair, I got instantly addicted to tattoos because that's what they do.
Yep.
So I booked in for this one.
It
I'm
looks
a big fan of the band Tool.
oh cool, yes. So
With
1,000 days,
that,
10,000
yep.
days.
Well, actually, this one's from Lateralis. This is
Oh
the
sorry.
Lateralis Chain of Eyes, which was I guess it was an artistic creation of Alex Gray. He's the one that does
Yes.
Tool's
Yeah.
art.
He's a
So
genius.
anyway, that was tattoo number 2. Tattoo number 3 is a big scorpion that runs up my back.
Okay. Well, we'll leave
Which
that.
Yeah, actually, that one's, everyone says I've got a tramp stamp, right? You remember, did you ever have
Yeah.
in Ireland the concept of tramp stamp? So the body and the pinchers of the scorpion are down just above my tailbone area, the small of my back, and then the spine of it kind of goes up, looks like a spinal column going up my back.
I see. That's cool.
Yeah, and then everyone knows, or at least some people know, that I'm a man of many hobbies, one of which are these balisong knives.
Oh cool.
So I have a butterfly
Oh,
knife.
butterfly knife.
Yeah, right.
Perfect.
And the antenna are blood, right? So why not? That one was done by a fellow named Brian in Tattoo Zoo, which is a really cool shop in Victoria, BC. And I play the bass, as you well know. Actually, I guess it goes that way. So I did a flaming bass clef, but
Excellent.
it's got these little barbs on it because that actually matches the theme of the scorpion on my back, and it's done in blue to match that.
That's
So
cool. Yeah, they all match. They all are tied together.
yeah.
That's cool.
And then the last one that I got, the most recent one, is my diamond here.
Oh, I like
Yeah.
the white ink highlights.
Yeah, so I got that done by a guy named Sean Jarvis, who lives in Medicine Hat, Alberta, and he is the king of black and gray for miles.
Okay.
The guy specializes in it, and I had exited a 15-year career in the jewelry industry and figured that I would get a diamond to commemorate
Yeah.
the closing of a large book in my life, or at least a chapter in my life.
Yeah. That's excellent.
Mm.
I have yeah, I'm still a work in progress. I have a pair of bat wings on my back, but they're pretty poorly done, to be honest. And then
Oh,
both my arms are basically covered, and then some of my chest. But I'd like to finish the bits that aren't complete, get the second full sleeve complete, and maybe hit more of the chest soon as well.
right. It's like what's it cost for a tattoo over there? They're pretty cost prohibitive here.
Yeah,
Not that I'm complaining, because I mean, you've got an artist doing their craft, and it's something that lasts you for forever until you scrape
true.
it off with road rash while hunting.
Yeah.
Um,
When I started, it was a case of going in, showing them what it was, and then they would quote you. Whereas now it's for a decent one, it would be £100 an hour, basically. Uh,
yeah, that sounds about right.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's all because footballers started getting them. They're very popular now, and
Oh,
musicians.
Bex.
Bex,
Yeah,
he started it
yeah.
all.
He's a walking tattoo. David Beckham is an inked canvas that can curve a football, like, so it comes back like a boomerang. That's basically David Beckham.
Yeah,
He is the embodiment of ink that kicks ball
Yeah. Good
and
guy.
make money. He
Good.
makes money, kicks balls, and spends it all on tattoos and, you know, posh spice women.
Yeah. I'm sure she gets her fair cut of it.
Mm.
Yeah, so you touched briefly then you're a very musical guy. You teach music, don't you? You give classes to people as well. And bass is
Yeah.
your main instrument then, or are you a prodigy of many
Oh,
instruments?
I can play. You know, I started playing the guitar before the bass.
Hmm.
So what had happened? I was 12 years old, same age as the student I'm going to go teach later today. That's why we actually had to schedule this meeting for it. I apologize.
No, not at all.
Um, so I was in middle school, and I was in the band program, and I played the alto saxophone because why not?
Yeah.
And I played that for, I don't know, a few months anyway. So we paid for the rental on the saxophone, done this, you know, learned the instrument. I was garbage at it. Most people in their first year of playing the saxophone, it sounds like an angry Canada goose that's, you know, honking out of pitch. And I had taken up the guitar. My dad and I ended up starting to take lessons. I was learning the guitar because, you know, that's cool. And my band teacher saw that I played guitar, and they were like, well, we need someone to play the bass guitar for the school jazz band
Hmm.
and the school concert band that would do all the classic music and stuff like that. Are you interested? I said, absolutely. Here's a bass guitar. So I was like, well, it can't be that much different than an actual guitar, aside from the fact that there's less strings and they're bigger.
Yeah.
So that's how I got into the bass, and I really enjoyed it. I used to play that thing damn near 24 hours a day. I played it till my fingers bled, and then I played it through that so they wouldn't bleed, pardon me, anymore. Um, Took to it really well. That's my superpower. If I had a superhero power, it's that I pick up and learn things very quickly and do them quite well when I do that. So for me, that was the bass guitar. It also made me the coolest person in the school, and that goes a long way to picking up chicks.
Absolutely. The most
Right?
important thing at that
Popular with
stage
the
of your
well,
life.
well, think about it. I was the one guy in school who played the bass guitar, so I was cool enough that I wasn't a band nerd or a band geek.
Yeah.
All the women loved me, but I had no game. I never picked up on their signals. I was terrible at that. But I rode a motorcycle to school every day. So I had the motorcycle, and I was in a band, and like, you know, I was doing it the right way.
That's it. You unconsciously were doing all the right things. Perfect.
Well, I had to do something to make up for this face, you see. Like it's just
You're a good looking man. Don't talk shit.
my face for radio, right?
Fuck off. No. So yes, we both have that in common. And I played bass for a while in a prog rock band called Black Swan Fallacy.
All
The
right.
the
You
guys,
sent me some of that.
yes, listen to it, check it out. The guys, a couple of them that are in it, have contacted me recently, since at least 10 years ago, since we played together. But we're doing a COVID thing now where we will. I write music as well, but it's not metal or prog rock. It's like David Gray kind of stuff, you know.
All right.
And so I'll send them tracks. They'll beef it up or rock it up, and then they're basically send it to the drummer. He'll do his bit. So we're using Dropbox and all that sort
Yeah.
of stuff to collaboratively do something over the. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the results of that are. Yeah, the singer of that band, Black Swan Fallacy, the one I sent you, Glyn McReynolds, he's called, but he's a really talented guy. He I don't know, that song he wrote, the melodies in it are pretty damn cool, and he can just bang those out. And you know, he'd have a few songs in a month if needed. You know, any pressure, he works under pressure really well, and it's all good stuff. Like, so I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to working with him again.
Well, that's exciting.
Are you in any bands at the minute then, or are you just?
No, just because I moved around, I had a three-piece going. You know, we'd had 9 songs ready to go. Well, one or two of them, the most recent ones, we were still kind of polishing, perfecting, and playing with what we were going to do with them as far as structure and lyrical content. But the bones, my part of it anyway, was written. The drum beats were really formulated. The guitar was getting there.
Mm-hmm.
Just the lyrical structure was kind of, you know, falling into place for our singer and guitarist Steve.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, you know, my poor drummer, he was more of a classic rock drumming kind of guy. His name's Corey. He's a friend of mine. and I'm largely into progressive music. You know, I'm clinically trained, so I'm writing stuff in time signatures that would just boil his blood.
Yeah.
I play something, he's like, "Well, that sounds really cool, but fuck you for
Yeah.
making me have to play to that." And I'm like, "What? You can't do like a 3/4 polyrhythm right now? Like, what do you?"
Yeah. It's augmented. I mean,
But it was
as a Tool fan, you're gonna
right.
be into all that kind of mad stuff. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just gonna say I take a lot of, you know, I never when I learned to play the bass and stuff, I never took any influence whatsoever from Tool. I was that one kid that was largely influenced on the instrument. I sought out the best. I wanted to aspire to be the best. So, you know, I came up early. One of the first songs I ever learned was Southbound Pachyderm by Primus, right? And then that's a slippery slope. So if you're playing easy Primus, it doesn't take you long to want to play the hard Primus.
Mm.
And then, of course, you know, I came up in the height of, you know, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, back when Californication album had come out and all
Yeah.
of their older catalog, things like that. So I was riffing hard on that, from a chop level, and then I just write my own stuff. You know, I used to pick up chicks by playing Classical Thump, by Victor Wooten. I don't know if you've ever heard it, but it's one of the most ridiculous pieces of music, by one of the craziest bass guitarists on the planet. Like the guy does, they call him the Funktopus because he plays kind of funky music. And they
Right.
call him
Right.
Funktopus because the only way you can produce sound like that is by having 8 arms, um, which he's only got 2 hands, but damn does he know how to use them.
Mm.
So that's how I got into the bass. But because of that, I've always been a difficult member to have in a band, right? Because a lot of people aren't used to that level of activity by a bassist. I can fill a lot of room, sonically speaking.
Yeah.
And now, as I've gotten older, you know, and I'm more influenced by Tool and things like that in my writing. It's just I've always been, you know, I write in minor keys. My music's very depressing, I guess people would say, right? I'm attracted to, you know, for me, music. I'm a generally happy guy, though I'm an introvert. I'm not much of a social character, despite popular beliefs. But I can't stand happy poppy music. I hate it.
Yeah.
I fucking despise it. My music needs to make me feel angry or miserable. I
Yeah.
need to feel something that isn't happiness because I'm generally an all right happy guy.
Yeah.
And music takes me to some place where I don't normally live, right? I want to be somewhere where I'm not, and that place happens to be very dark and mysterious and angry at times. So, you know, I've got a friggin', you know, the guys in my most recent band, the one I'm talking about, the 3-piece that unfortunately we disbanded because I moved away
Hmm.
and the pandemic kind of kicked in, and it was there's all sorts of stupid things that stopped us, but we were about ready to just get out there and play some good shows. But the guitarist and the drummer used to just constantly make fun of me because I had a pedal board that started with 11 pedals and it worked its way up to 15. So the drummer especially, he'd send me, little funny videos people have made where it's like, it's the Boss nothing pedal. This pedal does nothing. You step on it and it makes no change to your sound, but you have to have it.
Yeah.
Right. So they used to make jokes about that. I'm like, yeah, I've got room on my board for that.
It's only $400.
Only $400. So I'm that one crazy bassist where people are like, oh, he's not pedaling on a root note and following what the guitarist does. And it's like, no, 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 no. The guitarist can follow what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Take a
No,
break. You don't have to make sound. I'll make it for you.
I prefer that kind of stuff as well. Talking about Primus, Les Claypool, have you heard his collaborative work with John Lennon's son?
Yeah, yeah. The Lennon Claypool Delirium
Hmm.
or whatever the hell it's called. I have heard it. I don't know. I don't know if I'd say I'm a fan of it. Like I am a fan of Claypool's works and music in general.
Hmm.
But it's weird to see Les Claypool share, you know, a heady lead role with anyone,
Yeah.
right? But I mean, Claypool's done all manner of offshoots. I mean, he's got the Bucket of Bernie Brains. He's got the Frog Brigade, Primus, of course. He's done collaborations with just about anyone you can think of, right? He's a really interesting guy. Um, I've seen Primus in concert live twice, which was really cool. One I was right up in the front, right up under Les, basically. I mean, if he was a sweaty individual, I would have taken a shower, but he's not, so I didn't.
Brilliant. I haven't seen them live really. Well, they are still touring, aren't they? As
Oh yeah,
yeah,
oh
there's
yeah.
still time then. There's still time.
Well, it depends, right? I mean, they were touring for a while, but you know, their drummer Tim Alexander had a heart attack or something recently, so that kind of slowed him down a bit for a year or two, and then you've got the pandemic and all that stuff.
Yeah.
All right, Cass, I've just got to hand some. What are you looking for? Your smokes? I don't believe they are. Oh, hold on. Sorry, my brother's looking for his pack of smokes. Anyway, it's never a live recorded event without a cameo appearance by one of my family members.
Yeah, it has to happen.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could stop it if I put a big "fuck off" sign on the door, but who am I to put my brother out in the cold to smoke his cigarettes when he can just come sit here off camera and stay the fucking quiet? But
the other thing I was going to touch on briefly, just we had the news recently of Fellowship of the Briar. Sorry to see him go.
Mitchell, yeah.
Yeah.
I know he was one of your favorite channels too.
Yeah, I did appreciate his channel. Certainly all the content he put up.
Very interesting content, yeah.
Good. Shame to see him go. And yeah, I just thought I'd touch on that. And the other thing then, gauze for the future.
Right.
What are your up and coming, or I'm trying to think of the next one I'm going to do. So I'm just trying to get some ideas of what you think.
Now, ideas for what to give away to people, or
and how to do it. What way do you do it? I mean, everyone's asking for the same thing, you know, VR me. I thought I would do it a bit differently this time, having people that don't have channels just email me.
Yeah.
And some of that content's been really good. And I've had to, you know, actually respond properly to it, because it's been, you know, some of them are essays about their uncle or father or grandfather. So it's been interesting.
Well, so you see, you've got a world of opportunity available to you. You know, I'm awful at doing gauze, I think, right? I just regurgitate the same questions. Although I did one where I was like, hey, give me ideas for my intro, because I deleted my intro one time, which I thought was fun, because I get to data mine people and let their ideas essentially translate into whatever intro I decide to make when I get some time and production equipment.
Why did you delete it?
I deleted it, yeah. So what had happened is I do all my recording on my phone. My phone got full, just full of everything. And I was trying to do videos, and it wouldn't let me record anything beyond a 4.5 minute video. So I had to clean out a bunch of stuff. I had all my old videos. And I went through, and I thought for sure that I'd kept my intro. It was only 8 seconds long, right? With the Guinness doing its cascade action. And I guess not. So I'd wiped out a whole sequence of videos to clear up space while I was purging my phone, because I didn't have a computer hooked up that I could just dump everything onto a hard drive and keep it. Yeah. So I started to delete them. And then all of a sudden I went to make a video shortly after, and I'm looking for my intro, and it's just not there. And I went, oh, you're an idiot. Okay, well, there goes your intro. You'll never recreate that, and now you need something new. And some people had hated the music I used in it. Like there was people that are like, oh, you're old timey. But you know, the music was free. I just stole it from the free section of my editing software, right?
People are going to hate anything anyway, no matter what. People are going to hate it. Some people
especially my channel. After I do a live stream, they specifically they hate that in particular.
I'm going to try. Is there any way of live streaming like Zoom on YouTube?
There is. You need an encoder, which is basically a recording program like what we use. I don't know how to do it. Like I said, I was trying to figure it out, but that's a missing piece of the puzzle. But you know, Jeremiah and those guys know that the Americans, you sat in on the Thanksgiving one, right? So that would be the way to ask, or the way to find out would be to go through those guys. I just need to reach out and do it myself.
Yeah.
I know John at All Briared Up is trying to move towards something like that, as are you, as are me, and you know, or as am I should say.
Oh yes, you're English. It is the way forward. I think it's happening more and more.
Anyway, back on topic, because I didn't give you an answer to your question about what to do for giveaways. You could set it up, get them to write you something or VR or whatever you want to do, like you said. But then what you should do is when you do the draw, one of the contingencies in the contract during the draw is that whoever wins has got to sit on here, regardless of lurk status or presenter status, and do a short interview with you.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's an excellent idea. Yes. Oh, and talking about the term lurkers and people not liking it, I had an email from one of the guys who sent me Entered the Go, and he was, I forget what his term was. I think it was warriors, something absurd anyway. He said we should start using this term, and he was quite adamant, and you should start using it. You should stop saying lurkers, and you need to stop using that word, and you should use warriors instead, because warriors of tobacco or something. So that's a bit
Well, yeah.
extreme, though, isn't it?
Well, you know what you could call them. I mean, I've got the whole commie, side thing going on. You could call it the commandants of the comment section.
Could be.
There you go.
Commandants.
The comment commandants.
The CCs.
Comrade, comment, commandant. The alliteration will kill him.
Any Russian blood in you, Chris?
No, not that I know of. Mostly Scottish descent.
Your surname again is Buchan, is it? Oh, sorry, Buchanan.
Well, there's a story behind that. You see, it probably was originally Buchan. Half of the family still uses Buchan.
I would.
I use Buchan, and here's why. This goes back to my patronymic lineage. So my dad's side of the family, not very close, awful relationships, and this dates back generations. Right? They just hate one another. It's not good.
Right.
Anyway, my dad and his older brother Lloyd, who was named after my grandfather, who was Lloyd Seymour. So you've got grandpa was Lloyd Seymour. He died long before I even existed, so good riddance. He was a tough old bastard. And then he had Lloyd, my dad's brother, my uncle, and my dad, Donald. And those two, from a very early age, never got on with one another. And I guess when Lloyd Seymour passed away, when Grandpa died, the will was not evenly distributed. You see, my father, he hated living with Grandpa so much that he fucked off and joined the army a few years before he was legally entitled to. So he snuck into the Canadian Forces and made a career of it. And
Did
Grandpa
lie about his age?
Oh yeah, he lied. Oh, he he lied, right? The official record said he joined when he was 17, but he was gone at 15, I think. Dropped out of grade 8 and left because Grandpa ran like a farm, like a greenhouses, and Donald hated working the greenhouses. And Grandpa said, "Well, you can either go to high school or you can work in the greenhouses." And the old man said, "Nah, I'm not going to do that." Went, joined, signed up, fucked off to Cyprus or wherever they put him, and had a career in the forces. But Donald and his brother, my uncle Lloyd, never saw eye to eye, didn't get on well. When the will got divvied up, Lloyd got all the money and the good stuff, and Donald got basically nothing.
All right.
So that caused bad blood. Lloyd actually had a son. That's my cousin Scott. Lloyd beat my cousin senseless grown ups to the point where when he was 15, I think it was, Scott went to live with my parents. So my parents raised him through his teenage years. I grew up calling him Uncle Scott. Scott actually bought the house that I was born into that's in this province where I moved. So I've seen Scott more in the past month and a half than I have my entire life, which is great. He was one of the reasons we chose to move to Winnipeg, is that I've got family here.
Yeah.
Right. And my family, we've never been close. I have no siblings. I'm an only child. So it was always me, mom, dad, and then Scott was kind of this thing that, I met once or twice and that was it. But my dad and my uncle, so Donald and Lloyd, went 18 years without actually having spoken a word to one another.
Jesus, right.
18 years. And they got together, and Lloyd had never reached out to me. The guy's a piece of shit. There's no two ways about it. He'll always be a piece of shit. He maintains the point that he's a piece of shit. Scott hates him, won't talk to him. My dad, same idea. And myself, I've got no time for the man. But we rendezvoused at Scott's wedding 13 years ago. Was it 13 years ago? I don't know. It was a long ass time ago. Anyway, we all traveled out here to Manitoba. So I came from British Columbia, Vancouver Island, to here. My parents were here. Lloyd and his side were there, and there was the wedding. And Lloyd decided that because everyone hates him and he's a piece of shit, that he was going to pick up the bar tab at the wedding.
Just to make it.
Just to kind of, yeah, well, just it's a superficial way of trying to bury the hatchet. So my old man turned to me and said, "Son, your Uncle Lloyd's buying the bar." And I said, "Donald, let's bankrupt the son of a bitch." So we drank as much as we could get into us, and I was a sloppy mess. It was terrible. I haven't drank the same since that wedding. I haven't been able to. I think I ruined my liver. And that was and you know, Lloyd, he said, "Oh, you know, Christopher, I want to keep in touch with you. You know, give me your email." I was like, "Cool, here you go. You've got a lot of birthdays and Christmases to make up for. Send me an email." Not once did that man send me an email.
Right. So it was all
Not
just
once.
sad then.
Just the same thing, right? So anyway, here's the thing. When Donald and Lloyd split, when the brothers stopped talking to one another, it's Lloyd Buchanan, but to spite the family, it's Don Buchan.
Fair enough, yeah.
Now we still make fun of that to this day because Scott Buchanan and Chris Buchan.
Mm.
And I rib him every day about it. Him and I go back and forth about the pronunciation of the last name. You know what I would say, if you want to know the official pronunciation of the last name, trace my lineage back, because I'm actually, and my daughter Ava, she's doing a school project right now about family history and roots and stuff like that, which for us is really tough because, you know, not the greatest family relations outside of the nuclear unit that is me, my mom, my dad, my kids, and me.
Yeah.
Scott. But I was like, Ava, she's got to, my daughter's name's Ava, she's got to ask these questions to members of the family and learn about the family. And one of the questions she decided to ask is, who is the most famous Buchan? And surely it's me, but it's not me. It's not me, right? Yeah. John Buchan, first Baron Tweesmere, Governor General of Canada. Direct trace to my lineage. So if you were to research John, also the author of the 39 Steps, which was a great spy book made famous in film by Hitchcock. Hitchcock stole it and made the film and got the recognition, but it was John Buchan what wrote it.
Jesus, right.
Find out how they pronounced his last name, and that would be the real pronunciation. I do believe they opted with Buchan.
Right, there you go.
Yeah.
Very interesting story, mate. Very interesting.
Well, I told you there was two ways this was going to go. Yeah. I would either sit here in awkward silence just to spite you, because I know you were making comments about it in one of your videos, or I'd give you something to listen to.
No, I'm glad you went with that. Yeah, no, I've been glad that there hasn't been any awkward silences. You bastard. You would have actually done that too. You would.
Oh, I would have. Absolutely. I'm a troll. My kid, she gets it too, right? You can start to see she's antagonizing her mother more and more. And every time she's doing it, it's stuff that I've taught her.
Excellent. Ava, is that the 8-year-old?
That's the 8-year-old, yeah. And I've spelt it with an E because I've trolled people. So I've trolled my kid for the rest of her life. People call her Eva. No, it's Ava.
You bastard.
Oh, it gets worse. Oh, yeah. You should ask me about how she got her name.
Aye.
So my wife and I, Ava hadn't been born yet, but the time was drawing near. And Steph and I were sitting there, you know, with a short list of names, as parents do, or parents to be. And it's an important thing, giving a name to something, let alone a child. We've got a list, and there was a few on the list. My wife, you know, God love her, she's absolutely terrible at naming shit. Right? She was going to call our daughter Charlie. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Are you trying to give her a complex? Charlie's a boy's name, right? If you still subscribe to the binary 2-gender thing. Sorry, Cass, I just lost all of our subscribers.
Yeah,
Any of the have just got bags and fucked up. But I'm like, no, we've got to do this. So I'm a night owl. I don't sleep well. Part of the reason I smoke a pipe, but actually tobacco's a stimulant and keeps you awake apparently. So maybe that's why I don't sleep well. But I was up doing my usual thing, and I was watching a documentary because I like to learn. I like to be smarter than all the other people that don't learn.
Yeah.
And the documentary happened to be about Hitler's final days in his bunker.
Mm.
And you can't talk about Hitler in the bunker without talking about Hitler's girlfriend, Eva Braun.
Yeah.
And I went, that's a nice name, Matt.
It is?
You know? So now the irony being is that probably 85 to 90% of my friends are Jews.
Mm-hmm.
I have actually chosen to follow loosely a Jewish belief system myself.
Mm-hmm.
Happy Hanukkah to everyone, by the way. Actually, it's funny, in one of your videos, the one with your buddy with the beard, you know, he's got the Celt Irish, and you said you've got sort of the Jewish Irish. And I was talking with Mike Gans, who's a keyboard commandant, if you will, a very active one in the YTPC, a good buddy of mine, and he's Jewish as well.
All right.
Which I had only learned recently, and I'm like, all my friends are Jews. That's my motto. And there's Mike, and he's and you said something about Irish Jew, you know, a Jewish Irish descent. And him and I were speaking while watching this video, and we're texting back and forth. And it's like, did he just say Jew Irish? And I was like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, he's one of us.
We're all over the place.
So anyway, geez, how did I get talking about this, Cass? Talking about
Eva. We're talking
Eva, yeah.
about Eva.
So anyway, yeah, my daughter, unbeknownst to many, was actually named for Adolf Hitler's girlfriend, Eva Braun.
You could lie and say it's Eva Peron then.
Well, I could, but why would I?
Yeah. That's brilliant. It's a lovely name. It has, yeah, it's nice. It's Celtic sounding as well.
Yeah, but remember, so this all started because I'm a troll. I like to antagonize people. So every piece of official documentation that girl comes home from her new school with, they spelt it AVA. Now, growing up with the last name Buchan, she's already doomed, because people will automatically convert it subconsciously to Buchanan. They'll always throw the extra AN on, and they'll just completely misspell it, mispronounce it. It's terrible, but you know what? Shit happens. Now they do it with her first name and her last name. So you're welcome, honey. Daddy has set you up for a lifetime of hating people right at introductions.
A real troll. If I've actually met a real troll today, ladies and gentlemen, for goodness sake.
See, a few years ago, when it came to internet memes and trolling people, there used to be this ugly hand-drawn cartoon face called Trollface. And it used to come along with the saying, "You mad, bro?" ? Did you ever see that one?
Yeah. Were you on 4chan quite a lot, were you?
I wasn't, but I made the rounds of the internet anyway, right?
We've lost more subs now.
Yeah, that's right. But I used to say that, you know, the Trollface meme would come up. And Robin, my friend who passed away, he used to just throw that at people all the time because he was a natural troll too, right? And I used to say, if someone had drawn a goatee on that ugly face, it would have been my profile picture. Because I was the intellectual embodiment of "you mad bro," and to this day I still am. I'll get into it and stir the pot of shit on Facebook as much as possible. This pandemic with the masks and everything, with the masks, this has been a goldmine to me. I wake up every day and spend no less than 8 hours a day pissing people off who see things different than I do.
Yeah.
Or I'll do it with the people that see it the same way I do, and I'll argue both sides equally. It makes no difference to me. I argue and antagonize for the sake of doing it.
That's me on Facebook as well. The very seldom time I'm on it. I've been banned a few times, a good few times then.
I've managed to stay out of Facebook jail my entire life, and I don't know how. I don't, like, people wonder. I'm an anomaly. Same with when I play Xbox. I say I've committed verbal hate crimes on Xbox while playing games, and I've still not been communication banned at all once.
It's going to happen now. Somebody will pick up on this.
I hope so. Try everything once. If you haven't been banned from Facebook at least once in your life, you haven't lived.
I agree. I think I've been banned 3 times. Each time was for sharing inappropriate memeage.
Oh, how could you? You rotten man, you terrible, terrible man.
People with no sense of humor anymore.
See, you and I have quite a bit in common, Cass. I learned that every time I speak with you. So you're basically just the skinny Irish version of me.
Aye.
I'm so sorry. That's your diagnosis.
No, I'm happy enough. Is that a golf shirt you're wearing?
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's a golf shirt. It's got coffee stains on it, I'm sure. I picked it up off the floor this morning because I needed to wear something.
What's the midnight golf program?
I don't know. I didn't buy the shirt. My mom bought it for me.
And your wife's called Steph?
Yes.
So is mine. That's just weird. We're both Pisces. Our wives are called Steph.
You play the bass.
Play the bass.
You smoke a pipe.
Smoke a pipe.
You want to know something really funny?
Tattoos.
In your My Mixture 965 video, right? In your My Mixture 965 video, actually just now even, forget the video, I'm watching you live doing this, and I've mentioned this to John at All Briared Up in conversation, and Mike Gans, and I'm about to mention it to you because I'm about to blow your mind. Your smoking cadence with the tobacco pipe is identical to mine.
Oh, really?
Puff, 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 retrohale, puff.
Yeah, you gotta retrohale.
I noticed it. Seriously, we follow very similar cadence. I noticed it in your first video that I ever watched of you, that 965 review, and I went, oh my God, he smokes the same tobacco I do, the same way I do. Told you.
That's uncanny.
They cloned me.
Moved you to Ireland.
No.
What age are you? I'm 35. What age are you?
Oh shit, you're 35. Well, then I'm younger than you, so they cloned you and they fucked it up bad and got me in.
There must have been some trouble in the in transit with the genetic material.
That's what it was. Now the question is then. Actually, there is no question. I'm just opening up this bag of tobacco. I'm going to smoke this. I've never had it before. It's Samuel Goth Perfection Mixture. I just got this in one of the Yabos.
Very nice. I had a guy called Alex Mirzoff from Philadelphia send me what his local tobacco store calls angel food.
Angel food. So it's a house blend.
It's Lane 1Q, he says. They've just renamed it angel food for some reason. What's the perfect blend you're smoking? Samuel
Goth Perfection blend? I don't know. I know nothing about it. I'm told it's a nice English. And that's all I know about it. I can tell you it's got a really beautiful long ribbon cut. Here, I'll show you.
Here, something's wrong with your audio again. It's gone all weird, your audio.
Yeah, how about now? Is it better?
No.
That's strange.
A little tinny. Move the device about a bit or something.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe that's... How about now?
That's a bit better, I think.
I think it's just a weak internet connection because I'm in the garage.
Possibly. It might come back.
You pay a lot of money for good internet, and then good internet's the last thing you get.
That's it.
So anyway, that's going to dry for a minute, and then I'm going to smoke, and I'll tell you all about it. Funny you should mention that. So your wife's name is also Steph. That is shocking. I hope to God that my wife doesn't watch this video as deep into it as what we've done right now, because I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to tell all the people on YouTube land another story in the efforts to cost us all of our subscribers again.
Okay.
So I have slept with more Stephanies than any other denomination of woman in the world.
Right.
And people actually started noticing it. They went, Chris, have you realized that the last 4 women you've been with have all been named Stephanie? And I said, funny you should mention that. Yeah, it is kind of a interesting coincidence, isn't it? They said, yeah. I said, but I don't believe in coincidence. They look at me and they say, what do you mean? And I say, well, I make it my mission to sleep with as many Stephanies as I could, so that if I ever were put to a polygraph test,
yeah.
Have you ever cheated on your wife? And you say, no, I haven't slept with anyone but Stephanie in the past 13 years.
That's brilliant. You'll pass flying colors. No sweat, no nothing.
No sweat, no nothing. Go to bed with a clean conscience. No, but in all seriousness, no, I've been faithful to my wife for as long as we've been around. So.
Good man.
Yeah.
It has to be done. It's a very rare thing these days as well.
But I think you more than anyone can agree that a woman named Stephanie is just the best woman you can find.
Absolutely.
And that is how you alienate and remove all of your female subscriber base.
Yeah, that's it.
That either one's not named Stephanie anyway.
You've done it.
Does your wife subscribe to your channel?
She does, yes. I don't think she watches every single video, but
yeah. Mine shows up in live streams and makes sure that I'm behaving.
Yeah, that's a good wife.
Yeah. All right, so I've loaded this tobacco into favorite pipe number 2, the Rossi Rubino 320.
That's nice. That's the Sabanelli make those, don't they?
Yeah, it's their off-brand. This was given to me by NJ Piper Ben in the Big Yabo that filled up my cellar all that time ago, and I love it. So this pipe largely replaced my Europe as my favorite, but then it got replaced later on by favorite pipe number 3, which, depending on how long you and I run, you might even see me smoke that one. I'll give you a hint. It's a Radice.
Oh, lovely.
It's the Radice that I won from Mike at Briar Blues.
Was that a recent go?
Yeah, it was fairly recent. Month and a half, 2 months, something like that now. Like, it hasn't been long since he did that. I made my wife a promise after I bought that 6-pipe plot where I got, the Brylon hunk of crap that led to me making this one. I promised her that I wouldn't buy any more pipes this year. I wouldn't spend any more money on pipes, but luckily the YTBC saw fit to just rain pipes upon me.
You perfect gauze, the perfect round. Did you enter the recent one for matches?
No, and I bet you can't guess why I didn't.
Same reason as me, was it?
Identical.
Yeah.
Identical. I watched your video and I was like, you beat me to it again, bastard.
Well, I think Smoking Cardboard was the same. Steve was the same. Yeah. He didn't say, though. I just think he just privately made the decision not to.
When I came up in the YTBC, matches wasn't on my radar. Shockingly, the YouTube algorithm never put him in front of me until after he had died and after I had started a channel. And now you can't watch a channel without hearing about John.
Yeah.
But this is okay for me because I then went back. Right, I discovered John post-mortem and have gone through and watched some of his catalog, and it's something that I do when I get time is familiarize myself with it. But you're right, the multiple giveaways out there involving John at this point, may he rest in peace, are far better suited to people that had a connection with him. Right, I never had that connection with him. I came up through the mutton chop school of pipe smoking. I created my channel in the hopes of actually, I'm sorry, I'm getting a message, I should have muted that. I've come up through, I built my channel in the hopes to interact with Chris, the mutton chop piper, and he left and I came in and now I'm the Chris. It's been joked about that I should shave off my goatee and my chin strap and don the chops.
You should.
Because now I'm even smoking, this pipe, or I'm smoking an offer pipe, and he swore by him, and I'm smoking his favorite blend now, and like I could be the next mutton chop.
True, he did enjoy that blend. All the frog, I think he liked Frogmorton on the Town as well, and the what's the one? The whiskey cube in it.
Yeah, it's got a whiskey cube in it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I should do my best impression of him. Hello, YouTube pipe smokers. The Rambling Dilettante here. I think that's what he used to do, eh?
He was so earnest, though. He was so like bashful and honest, and even when he told a joke and it was blatantly obvious that it was a joke, he would still have to say that was a joke. He's just so friendly and nice, and I don't know, so
professional,
such a pure, professional as well.
If you ever,
a great guy.
If you ever wanted to watch a master class in how to professionally build a YouTube channel and monetize tobacco, he wrote that. But I don't think he did it with the express purpose of doing it. I honestly believe that he wanted to educate pipe smokers and build or save the hobby that is pipe smoking. But I mean, look, his subscriber count will far and forever dwarf anything that any of us combined could ever do.
Yeah. Absolutely.
He broke YouTube as far as pipe smoking instructionals go. Him and Bradley from Stuff and Things, the two of those guys, they and John apparently, right? I only watched the two guys, Bradley and Chris, but John was that missing third piece for me, as I learned over the past year.
Mhm. Do you watch Mark Bremen Piper, our friend in
No,
Germany?
no, I don't.
You should.
I should.
He's another Goliath out there. Bremen Piper, Bremen Pipe Smoker, Bremen. Perfect. I'll send you a link.
Yeah, please do.
Mm. He's so funny. He's like a. When I first watched his channel, I thought he was from New York or something because his accent's all. But he's from Germany. It's just such an obscure accent that I didn't know what it was. So it's Lower Saxony, that kind of weird accent. Such a nice guy though. Really knows his tobaccos inside out, and always films off location and giving you. He's also a lecturer in a university over in Germany. I think it's in history. I assume because he talks an awful lot about history and seems to know a lot about history.
Very good.
Very educational channel as well. You'll like that.
I will.
I'd love to meet him. I'd love to. I think next time I'm over in Holland, I will reach out to him a couple of weeks before and see, just chance my arm, as they say here.
You're planning to move back. You're planning to move back to Holland, aren't you?
It could happen within the next 2 or 3 years. Yeah, could happen. I mean, I'm close enough with my family, but Steph is quite close with her family, like more so, to be frank. So I had a discussion with her the last time we were there, saying it's not fair to you, basically, and I think I'd be willing to have a proper go at. See, whenever I did live there, I was still a drinker and couldn't learn the language properly and was just not going about it the right way. So, I suppose I just need to learn Dutch. Easy peasy, yeah.
Yeah.
But it'll happen. It'll
Just
happen.
pick up another language, yeah.
Yeah, easy.
Actually, you had asked if I had any Russian blood in me. So the whole joke behind the Russian thing is that is what I studied in university, was Germanic and Russian studies, focusing on Russian language and history.
Okay.
And people are like, "That's really interesting. Why did you do that?" And I said, "Well, I was forced into university by my parents. They were dead set that I had to go get at least a bachelor's degree, because everyone had one. But I kept arguing with them that as the millennial generation came up, things had changed, and now bachelor degrees aren't worth the paper they're printed on.
Yeah.
Employers just don't care. So I wanted to take some time off between high school and university, kind of figure out what I want to do as a career path, but they were dead set against it. So the agreement was struck that if I went to university, they'd foot the bill.
They would
My
foot the
parents.
bill. Yeah.
Yeah, my parents being the they. So I did, but I went there not, having any idea what I wanted to do. So I took general studies, and I was always a languages guy. And the University of Victoria was the only university in Canada at the point, maybe still to this day, that was offering a degree in Russian language. So I took it.
Mm-hmm.
And people ask me, why would you do that? And I said, have you seen the women from Russia?
Yeah.
Like, how could you not? And they said, well, what can you do with your degree? I said, well, I can ask you, would you like fries with that in 2 different languages? Can I?
Yeah.
It's a useless degree, just to spite my parents, but I learned how to speak it.
That's honorable.
Mm-hmm.
And they foot the bill and forever resent you for it.
Yeah. Well, they foot half the bill. As soon as I abandoned the degree 5 years into a 4-year degree program, they stopped paying, and I had to pay the remaining 10,000 or whatever it was in student loans.
Jesus, yeah.
Paid that off in the summer. Actually, I framed the letter that says, "Congratulations, you don't owe us any more money." I framed it.
I'm sure that was crippling for a while, that amount of money, yeah.
$180 a month every month that could have been going towards tobacco.
Yep, absolutely.
Or groceries, or my family, just stupid shit like that.
That kind of stuff, yeah, nonsense. How much is 50 grams of tobacco in Canada now?
On average, $53 plus tax for a grand total of about 60.
And is the Canadian dollar, what's it compared to the US dollar?
We're weak. So $1.28 Canadian is $1 American.
Yes. Okay. Right. That's still very expensive, isn't it?
It's awful.
Very.
Yep. Remember when I mentioned that they had demonized the hobby of tobacco in my country to the point where they're doing anything to make it prohibitive, cost prohibitive specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're doing the
But
same
luckily,
as Australia as well.
Australia is actually worse than us. There's no place worse in the world than Australia when it comes to basically anything.
Spiders tobacco.
No, I always make the joke. I've made it to Mick, the Aussie e-piper. I said, Mick, I don't like Australia because no one gets sick there. Because everything that bites you kills you, and everything bites you in Australia.
It's true. Have you been to Australia?
Yeah, twice.
Oh, yeah, I haven't.
Yeah. So when I was working for that company that was New Zealand / Australian venture, they used to send us all sorts of places around the world for our management conference. It was just an all expenses paid party of drinking and debauchery and learning stuff for work.
Yeah.
But the company's head office was based out of Murari in Queensland and Brisbane.
Mm-hmm.
So on 2 occasions, we ended up going to once to Brisbane, once to the Gold Coast.
Right.
So,
Nice. Not allowed to climb Ayers Rock anymore, apparently.
yeah.
Yeah. Although you could surely troll the hell out of them and do it somehow. Pretend that you're Aboriginal.
Mhm. Yeah, I have this tendency to offend Australians, and it's not by choice. So one of my funny quirks that drives my wife absolutely bonkers. She loves watching it happen as it happens. Is I have this innate thing that my brain does that if I spend enough time speaking with someone, I start to mimic them, right? And it's just maybe it's because I'm a salesman, but essentially people are more comfortable with their own.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I'm sure you've probably noticed it creeping in through the hour and a bit that we've been talking. But I really start to absorb people's accents.
Yeah. I may have kind of picked up a little once or twice.
I'm not trying to offend you, I swear. It's just I can't help it.
So when you're
So
talking to an Australian, do you end up
yeah,
talking
so,
to an
so
Australian? Like in
yeah,
a
yeah. Well, so when I told you my mom bought me this T-shirt,
Yeah.
that's,
That's right. Fuck's
I
sake.
see. I see you've spent some manner of time speaking with a guy in Ireland.
You did
I
say I a couple of times as well. I was like, the fuck?
Yeah, no, but I say I to you all the time. Am I trolling you or am I just doing it? No, I do use I as an affirmation in my day-to-day life, with or without you.
Listen, something's happened to my computer here. 1 second. I've lost this. Oh, here we are. I'm back. I'm back.
The Zoom is saying that we can't do it anymore. Is that what it
It's asking if I want to update in the middle of a conversation.
is? This Canadian guy is too much of a prick. You should update in the middle of your chat with him.
Yes, please. It's Apple. It's a Mac that I'm on, a device. So you would think Microsoft would be the ones that would ask you if you want to update in the middle of something.
No, God, no. Microsoft doesn't ask for permission. They just
They
jam it
did.
into you. They don't even buy you dinner first. They
Mm.
just put the update on you.
And don't ring you the next morning.
Yeah,
So what are
that's
your
right.
plans for this evening or the weekend then? You're teaching 1 or 2 people this weekend?
I'm teaching one lesson to a new student. I've never met him or taught him before. That's going to happen right after this. Then it's Saturday. So on Saturdays, I've taken to creating big slow cookers full of soup for dinner. So it's my turn to cook. I'm going to make a soup. And then I'm going to do my Saturday night live stream, which will be sometime in the wee hours of the morning for you. So you'll probably never attend one. So that's at 7 p.m. my time. And then after that,
What's that? Midnight for me? Or what?
10, 11, 12, well, it'd be 1 a.m. It'd be 1 a.m. your time.
I'll see. If I'm up, I'll join or I'll chat. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And then after that, after the live stream, I'll probably smoke more tobacco and try and make John at Allbriar's up live stream. He's going to do it at what would be 11 p.m. my time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5.
That'd be like 5 or 6 in the morning for you.
Yeah, I won't be up. Well, listen, we'll cut this Zoom meeting. Well, I'll stop the recording now anyway.
Yeah.
So I'll just do the rudimentary. Thank you very much for joining me, good sir. It has remained relatively clean, I think. You know, surprisingly.
You won't have to put too many disclaimers. I mean, there were. Hold on now. We talked about killing animals. We've said a few bad words. I did strip to show some tattoos. So you're going to need a disclaimer that says this program contains scenes of violence, coarse language, nudity, sexuality. I think that's it.
That's it. And on that note, we'll stop the recording. Thanks for watching, folks. Speak to you again soon.